Hello, it's Michael Furlong from Roll Maximiser, and I have the pleasure this afternoon of chatting with Jessica Davidson, Department Manager, Ray White Frankston, bugger that, award winner, hello, Property Manager of the Year, Tasmania and Victoria. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I shouldn't say bugger that because it's really important because we're going to chat about that. So tell me a little bit about your office. So Frankston has two parts to it, my understanding. I don't live in Frankston, but I have an understanding of Frankston having a lower socioeconomic area, but quite an affluent area. Am I right?
We are. We're a real mixed bag down in Frankston, and it's a fantastic sort of demographic to work in. We've got everything from, like you said, your high end. We've got some beachside Golden Mile style properties that can rent anywhere up to and over and above $1,000 a week, through to the lower income housing commission style sector that will rent for as little as $280 to $300 a week. So we do have quite a mixed bag when it comes to portfolio. So a little bit of everything, which is good.
So I imagine if you've got a mixed bag of portfolio, what that then leads to generally is a mixed bag of landlords.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So someone who's got a property that's $200, $280 a week probably doesn't have the same $1,000 one in their portfolio.
Not necessarily. We've got quite a few multiple landlords that do have a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to their, property selections. We have some landlords that have dabbled in a little bit of commercial. They've got some residential as well. We don't personally manage any commercial properties, but commercial, residential investment. And then we've got predominantly, I would say, if you were to sort of put most of our landlords into a packet, mum and dad investors.
Sure.
Predominantly what we have down here.
So a lot of for those that don't know the Frankston area, you're beachfront?
Yes.
Beachfront area?
We are down on the beach. Yes, it's wonderful at lunchtime to be able to go down and have a walk on the sand if you want to. Beachfront, but our portfolio at Ray White Frankston is fairly centralised. So Frankston, Central, South and North. We do dabble a little bit into Seaford and go out towards Cranbourne a little bit, but predominantly we stay within a sort of 10 to 15 kilometre radius of the office.
I was going to ask about that. So how many properties do you manage at the moment? How many?
It's about 660 in the portfolio at the moment.
So all within a 10, 15K radius?
Yes, yeah. There might be the odd one that is a multiple landlord that sort of steps outside that area, but predominantly within a sort of 10 to 15K radius.
Sure. And you've got four PMs, two BDMs, or you call them new business, and then leasing. Yes,
we do, yes.
How does the structure work within your office? Do you have, is it a pod structure? Do the PMs run end to end? How does it work from a day-to-day operation point of view?
Sure. We do work on the portfolio-based structure. So we're a little bit different than most agencies in the way that we structure our property management team. So I'm a really big believer in, you don't sort of remunerate based on how many years you've been in the industry. It's really about your capacity as a property manager. And so I've got some property managers that will manage 150 to 160 range. I've got some that step up to that 170 to 180 range. I've got one property manager that's going to be managing 200 plus properties. Every property manager, regardless of their years of experience, has a capacity level.
Yes.
And they're remunerated based on the number of properties they manage as opposed to how much experience they've had in the industry. So it's a great opportunity, particularly for younger property managers coming into our business, to be able to start off at the base, 140, 150 properties. And then as they gain their confidence and their skills and experience, to give themselves pay rises as they take on an extra 10 properties and grow their portfolio. So it's a little bit different from the norm, but we're finding that structure works really well for the team and they're enjoying it.
So does that work on the number of doors or is it a dollar value? Do you work on a dollar value for the portfolio?
No, it's the number of properties, number of doors that they manage. We don't have too many multiple landlords. Predominantly they are mum and dad investors, but yeah, dependent on the size of the portfolio, they'll be remunerated accordingly. So you don't sort of have to feel like you start in a property management role and you're stuck in that same salary bracket for years on end, toiling away doing the same thing. You've got the opportunity that if you're feeling too stressed and overworked, you can drop yourself back a little bit. If you're feeling like you've got capacity and you want to grow a little bit more, we'll give them to you. I've worked with some amazing property managers that can handle 200 plus properties. I've worked with some property managers that really prefer to just stick at that 150, 160, 170 range. So we allow them to choose what's right for them rather than us dictating to them what they'll manage.
That's the ridiculous question, isn't it? Which is, how many properties can a property manager manage?
Exactly.
And it's to their capacity.
It is. There's no set answer to that question. And I see it asked a lot, but every property manager is different.
A lot of times it's asked by sales-based principals looking to set up a rent roll that just want to hire one person and say, how can I bleed this person as much as I can? Which is a shame, because
that's how you lead to burnout.
It flows through into their portfolios. So do you use NPS?
We do, yes. I call it a bit of a temperature check on our portfolio. So we review both our landlords and our tenants every quarter. So a property manager will have a rolling NPS score each quarter. So we'll do a set survey. It's only 4 to 5 questions, the 1 through 10, obviously, to try and get a gauge or a bit of a temperature on the portfolio. And first half of the portfolio will get done in the first quarter and the third quarter. The second half of the portfolio get done in the second and the fourth quarter. So we're always getting it.
2 a year.
Yeah, so we do it 4 times a year, but we split the portfolios in half. So so each landlord and each tenant will get reviewed twice a year. We'll get the opportunity to review twice a year, and that in turn will give the property manager an NPS score, which we like to see continuously improving, particularly if they're wanting to grow their portfolio size. We want to make sure that they're looking after and I suppose instilling that customer-based or customer service-based focus into their portfolio, and everyone's happy.
And so do you use NPS? It wasn't something we were going to talk about, but I love it when I see using NPS. Do you use NPS as a way to manage the performance and gauge your team? Do you use that as part of your review process?
It is one of the KPIs that our team is required to hit. We have 10 KPIs. We haven't reinvented the wheel when we've set the KPIs. It is predominantly just the things day in and day out that we expect our property managers to do. Things like good news calls, keeping maintenance under a maintainable level. We sort of like to see maintenance come in and out within 28 days. So keeping maintenance under 28 days. Our NPS score, referrals, so referring through to supporting
sales or finance.
Sales, finance, BMT is another company that we partner quite a lot with, referring into our new business team. So asking the question of our current landlords, are there friends, family that we could refer through to help grow the department? So we're always asking for referrals as well. Making sure fees and charges are entered correctly and on time, so that we're sort of obviously making sure we're hitting that bottom line each month. But there's 10 KPIs that form a part of how we manage and I suppose work with our property managers. And we don't sort of call it KPI, it's more of a performance review, and it's an open discussion between myself and the property managers to see how they're coping, how they're feeling, whether or not they're wanting to take that step up to the next bracket and increase their portfolio size. They need to be hitting those core numbers, those key performance indicators, to ensure that they're ticking all the boxes first. And
you do that on a monthly basis, Jess?
Yeah, definitely. Some property managers I catch up with fortnightly. That's by request. They like to have that accountability. So really I will work with the PM depending on what their needs are.
Okay. And so from a staffing point of view, you do monthly check-ins and then quarterly. Do you catch up quarterly, or is it 6 monthly?
No, look, we just do our monthly KPI, like one-on-one performance reviews with the PMs. That's the minimum. If property managers want to catch up more frequently because they feel they work better with more accountability, then that is available to them. I've never had a cookie cutter approach to managing the team. I will always speak to the team member. Everyone's needs are different and everyone's expectations of what they want from me are different. So I like to tailor that a little bit so that it's just not one size fits all for every property manager in the team.
And so give me a little bit about your background. You've been department manager for how long, and how long have you worked at the Frankston office?
So 5 years now at Ray White Frankston, and I've been a property manager and a department head at Ray White Frankston. Prior to that, I was a team leader at an inner eastern suburbs agency. So that's where I sort of cut my teeth on property management, learned how to be a PM. And for the first 10 years of my industry, I was actually a sales consultant. So
okay.
That's where I started. My first day in real estate was very early on in 2002. I sat down with a desk, pen and paper, a whole heap of letterbox drops, and they said, good luck.
And here you are, almost
yes.
20 years later.
You either sink or swim in this industry.
So you did sales.
Yes.
Was there some auctioneering? Have you been involved in auctioneering?
Yeah, no, I did the novice auctioneers competition. I was rubbish. I gave it a shot though. I did it more so for my public speaking confidence, to try and give myself a little bit of a confidence boost. I thought if I can get out there and call an auction in front of a room full of my peers, it will do wonders for my listing presentations and being confident in my ability. I was very young when I started in real estate, and the demographic I started in, quite often the vendors I was going in to try and list their properties had kids that were older than I was. And here I was asking them to entrust their largest asset with me. Yep. To sell. So I jumped straight on the bandwagon and did my full estate agent's license straight away.
Yes.
And then I wanted to be one of the first female auctioneers on the Mornington Peninsula. So off I went, did the novice auctioneers competition through the REIV, didn't get past the first stage, but you know what, I gave it a good crack and it did wonders for my self-confidence. So that's the win.
And that's what we talked a little bit before about the whole award process. Yes, you might get an award, but there are also some finalists along the way. But I think that the measure of a business is actually going through the process. If you get the award, that's great. The recognition is going through the process. Do you remember, so you did your license at the REIV?
I actually did it through Chisholm. So I did all my studies via correspondence.
Yes.
I know when I went from selling Big Macs at McDonald's to houses. And I can remember sitting at home one day going, what do I want to do with myself? What career path? You know, everyone expects that you should have it all figured out by the time you're 18, 19, and I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. So I took myself off to university, started doing a Bachelor of Business, and from there I thought, well, what's the next step for me? And so I thought, all right, well, I might give this real estate caper a crack. It looks...
Did you finish uni?
No, I was a uni dropout, much to my mother's disappointment.
Did you make the first semester?
No, I did 2 years. I did 2 years of my degree. It was 2 years of a 3-year degree. What a waste. I probably should have finished it. But I can remember coming home from one of my classes one day. I picked up some literature on the agents representatives course, and I said to Mum, I think I'm going to become a real estate agent, Mum. And I think the look of disbelief on her face was palpable. You know, that feeling was palpable. But she goes, well, Jess, if you're going to be a real estate agent, you better be the best real estate agent out there. And I went, I can do that. So off I went, did my agent's rep certificate. As soon as I got that under my belt, I went off, I sent my resume off to every agent on the Mornington Peninsula, had 4 interviews, 4 job offers, took the one was paying me the most, didn't realise that in sales you had to pay it back.
Yeah.
So refundable retainers were a new concept to a 19-year-old. So, but yeah, jumped into sales and did that for 10 years and loved every minute of it. And I decided to make the switch from sales into property management because my cat didn't complain if I came home at 10, 11 o'clock at night after doing listing presentations and buyer appointments. My husband started to. So I thought, all right, now might be a time for me to find something where I can have the passion and love for the industry, but find something that's perhaps going to be a little bit more conducive to work-life balance. And that's when I made the decision to step into property management.
Yes. Your mum gave you some really good advice. If you're going to do it, be the best.
Yes.
That's the advice that you took on board, and it's clearly worked for you because you're now moving across. When you talk to new people that come into the industry, actually, I'll go back. I'll ask the question. when somebody asks you what you do for a living, what do you say? What's your job?
Well, I just say I'm a property manager first and foremost, but
Property manager.
I do a lot of interviews. And so I interview a lot of young people that want to start in the industry. I interview a lot of people who are experienced or maybe had 2 or 3 years experience in the industry.
Yes.
And my favorite question to ask them is, why do you want to get into real estate? It's an automatic.
What's the best answer you got? What is it? What do you normally get? Because I like property.
I love houses.
Yeah. Oh, so I say become a bloody builder.
If someone says to me that I love houses, you're getting into this industry for the wrong reason.
Yep.
We are a customer service industry. The houses are the byproduct.
Yep, it's the product.
Yeah, we are in customer service. That's what we are. That's what we do. If someone says that to me in an interview, they automatically get through to round 2. If someone tells me that they love houses, I go,
yeah. Haven't really thought about it. And the reason why I ask that question is because I try to say to people, particularly new entrants, I spend a lot of time with brand new entrants into the industry in my training capacity. And I say to them, you're a real estate agent. That's what you are. You just happen to be in sales now, or BDM or admin or PM. But you've probably, and I'm in the same boat. So I've gone from buyer's advocate to then sales principal to then trainer and teacher. But at the end of the day, I'm a real estate agent. You're the same. You've spent 20 years in the industry and sort of navigated from the 2 different areas. Was it difficult to go from sales to PM?
I didn't find the transition difficult. No, I was fully licensed by the time I'd stepped over to property management. So I'd had somewhat of an idea of what property management entailed. But I suppose what I loved about it so much is I went from the transactional relationship that is sales to the long-term relationships that you build through property management. And I get a lot more satisfaction out of those relationships that I have that are long-term now with the landlords and tenants that I deal with. You know, I get a great thrill when a tenant comes back to me and she goes, you know, I want to stay with you. You know, can you help me find another home? I want to keep working with you. Yeah. That's a testament to the relationship you have with that particular person, and that it doesn't just feel like that standard property manager tenant or property manager landlord relationship. It's a proper relationship that's been developed and nurtured over the years. Instead
of the 60, 90, 120 day relationship, which is in sales. I wanted to bring you back to, and so you know the REIV office, you know where the there's a car park underneath, and I can, or a fire exit. I can remember doing my license way back when, and at the auctioneering course, there are a number of people that you were talking about public speaking, didn't want to do it. It's a prerequisite. You must do the auction. And they didn't feel as though they wanted to do the auction in front of their peers. So the presenter took them downstairs and did it in the car park. And it's like, really?
It's counterproductive.
I know you're going to get a tick, but you're not really there. Jess, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. We could do this all day, but we won't. We could do this all day. Thank you very much. Congratulations. I've even forgotten that we started talking about the fact that you won the Property Manager of the Year for Victoria and Tasmania for the Ray White Awards that were just recently held. I don't want to underplay that. But at the end of the day, you sound like you're a good person to work for. You sound like genuinely you're doing the right thing in the industry, and it's really easy. I spend a lot of time talking to people. It's really easy to find the real ones and the fakers. And I've enjoyed this chat this afternoon. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.